Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Gopinata Radha Gopinata Shri Radhe. Jaya Jagannatha Jaya Baladeva Jaya Subhadra Mai Jaya Sudarshana Jaya Giri Govardhan Giri Govardhan Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Gurudev 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Jai Shri Shri Radha Gopinath Bhagavan ki Jai, Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maiya ki Jai, Sudarshan Chakra ki Jai, Shri Gauranitai ki Jai, Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai, Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bo. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naranchaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tado Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloker Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangam Langayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Shri Gurum Dinadarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Hari Om Tat Sat. So we are continuing our Bhagavatam study. We are in chapter 9, entitled The Passing Away of Bhishma Deva of Canto 1. We have finished until text 14. So today we are going to continue from text 15. Text 15. Oh, how wonderful is the influence of inevitable time. It is irreversible. Otherwise, how can there be reverses in the presence of King Yudhishthira, the son of demigod controlling religion, Bhima, the great fighter with a club, the great bowman Arjuna with his mighty weapon Gandiva, and above all, the Lord, the direct well-wisher of all the Pandavas. So, Bhishma Deva is now talking to Yudhishthira Maharaj, and then he was talking about all the tribulations they have undergone, and he was also talking about all the tribulations their mother has taken, in their life. And now he is talking to, the power of time, because Yudhishthira Maharaj was the son of Dharmaraja himself. He is an Amsa. Amsa meaning he is a part and parcel of Yamadharmaraja's, So, in front of Yudhishthira Maharaj, he has never committed any sinful activities in his life. He was called Dharma Putra. He acted perfectly in the path of Dharma. Right? So, here the question, how the time is so powerful that even a great personality who is the son of Yamadharmaraj, who walks perfectly in the path of Dharma, even he has to undergo so many reverses. Bhima, he was such a great, powerful warrior, as we saw in the previous weeks. He had the strength of 10,000 elephants, right? How he has to go through this terrible time. And Arjuna was such a powerful fighter that he could take on the whole Devata single-handedly, right? He actually fought with all the Devas when there was this Agni wanted to eat a forest, and Arjuna and Krishna on one side, they were, because Indra didn't want the forest to be burnt because his friend Tataksha was living there. So Indra was trying to stop, and Arjuna was trying to, stop Indra from preventing Agni from consuming the forest. So he even fought with Indra and won in that war. So he is such a powerful warrior who can win the king of all the devatas, all the demigods. Even in front of him, how can there be suffering? And in addition, Krishna himself there with them as their well-wisher. But still, how could this time do such a thing? Right? This is something that is very important for devotees to understand. Right? In addition to all these great qualities, they also had the Krishna on their side. Right? But, Krishna was personally, Prabhupada writes, Krishna was personally concerned with their affairs as a well-wisher. So how can it can happen? So as a devotee, we also have to think. Sometimes devotees, we assume, oh, devotee life means easy life. The Krishna will take care of everything. Yes, Krishna will take care of everything, but that doesn't mean that there won't be material reverses, right? Because as we were discussing in the last week, material suffering is of no importance to us, or material happiness is of no importance to devotees. This we need to keep very clearly in the mind. This is very important. Verse 16. O king, no one can know the plan of the Lord, Sri Krishna. Even though great philosophers inquire exhaustively, they are bewildered. So, here it is. Now he is taking the direction of the conversation in a slightly different way. From taking first, he said time is the one that is causing all this problem, and then he comes on to the next point, that the time itself acts according to the plan of the Lord, and no one can understand the plan of the Lord. Right? It is in the purport. Srila Prabhupada writes, even great demigods like Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, cannot understand the plan of the Lord. So, particularly for devotees, whatever happens in the life of the devotees, it happens by the plan of the Lord. In the purport also, Srila Prabhupada mentions that for devotees, particularly the Pandavas, they were not suffering because of their karma. Because they were pure devotees, there cannot be any karma for pure devotees. So then the question arises as to why. And then that's also Srila Prabhupada writes an answer in the purport. This is the purport that he writes, that Lord had to execute the plan of establishing the kingdom of virtue, and therefore his own devotees suffered temporarily in order to establish the conquest of virtue. So, this is Krishna wanted to establish a principle that dharma always wins and adharma always is always at the end is defeated, and only his devotee who is established in dharma can actually rule the world. Temporarily there may be a setbacks, but ultimately it will be dharma of the and in the side of the devotees that will be successful. This is the point that Krishna wanted to get through to the world, and that's what he proved through Mahabharata. So even with great warriors like Bhishma and Drona on the other side, they cannot win at the end. Again and again, it was victory for the Pandavas only. So even though they had to go through the reverses, at the end, Dharma was re-established by Krishna. And for that purpose, he executed the whole thing. As I said, not even demigods can understand the plan of the Lord. Then how is Prabhupada writing in the purport? Because for a dear devotees of the Lord himself reveals in the heart why he does what he does. Verse number 17. O best among the descendants of Bharata, Yudhishthira, I maintain therefore that all this is within the plan of the Lord. Accepting the inconceivable plan of the Lord, you must follow it. You are now appointed the administrative head, and my Lord, you should now take care of the subjects who are now rendered helpless. So finally, Yudhishthira Maharaj is concluding that it all happened, all these things that happened by the plan of the Lord. Whether initially, whatever suffering they had to go through, that was also plan of the Lord. Yudhishthira Maharaj completely accepted that. The same way he says, now that you cannot think that you have caused this slaughter of all these people. Now you need to accept it as this also as the plan of the Lord, and you have to take care of whatever the Lord wants, you have to just follow. Prabhupada writes in the previous purport as well that nobody can question why the Lord is doing what he is doing. We can simply follow the arrangement, right? So this three verses is very critical for us practicing devotees, because sometimes we have this expectation that Krishna will protect me. And when Krishna, yes, Krishna will protect us. There is no doubt that Krishna will not protect us. But then we also think Krishna should protect me in this way. That is where the problem comes into play, right? Because we think this is the way Krishna has to protect, but that is not correct. Because it's like like let's say, a kid is crossing a road with his father, right? Now the father knows what is the best way to take care of the kid. The kid doesn't know, actually. He doesn't know the rules. He doesn't know the regulations. He doesn't know that the best way to cross the road is to use the zebra crossing, because he has never heard of any signs. He has not learned the traffic rules. He doesn't know how the traffic lights work, cars go. He doesn't know all these things, being a very small kid. So he can't say, "Oh, we have to, walk to the middle of the road, not in a zebra light. We shouldn't wait for, all these things." The kid doesn't understand. So he thinks, as soon as I go there, I have to cross the road, and it doesn't matter where I am standing. That is how a kid reacts. Similarly, sometimes even devotees, we think that Krishna protects us, but Krishna should protect me in a particular way. Oh, he should give me, this comfort, that comfort. This disease should go away. That should. I mean. See, we need to very clearly understand the concept of protection. We cannot see the concept of protection with our material judgment. Materially, we understand what is good and what is bad for us, right? And we cannot use that judgment back to the actions of the Lord, because the Lord is transcendental. So whatever we have learned materially, we have to keep it away. We cannot use that to judge the Lord. Even materially speaking, our judgment is not always correct. Actually, most of the time it is wrong, because we don't have all the knowledge. We don't know what is actually good for us. We don't have the capability to understand. We don't know what will happen, right? 3 months before, in US they were saying we had the best economy in the world, and today they have the worst economy in the world. Even great leaders, all the, their president, the intelligence community, nobody could have predicted what is happening today. So if a collective of all the intelligent people and powerful people cannot know what is good for them, what is bad for them, and as we saw, even the prime minister of Great Britain, they call it Great Britain. I don't know what is great about it, but still they call it Great Britain. The prime minister of Great Britain himself, he was struck by the disease and he was in the ICU in the hospital. So how can a person who doesn't even know what is good for himself and bad for himself can help others understand and run a government and say that what is good for them and what is bad for them? So this is the situation we are living in. So sometimes the problem is we judge with our own capability. Okay, because we have, the material concepts are very deeply ingrained within us, because we have been living in the material world for so long. So these concepts are very easy to observe. Money is very valuable. Money can protect us. So Krishna should give me money. No, Krishna doesn't need us to have money to protect. Oh, without money, how can I, eat food? Prabhupada gives an example, right? There are millions and billions of animals, insects, everything is there. None of them go to work. They don't earn money, but still Krishna is feeding them food. So this idea that money is protecting me is a temporary illusion. Similarly, if I have a good house, if I have a good heart, if I have a good health, we think it is good. Actually, there is even one extreme point that even we think death is bad for us, but sometimes death is good. In case of Bhishma, in the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is saying, okay, what if Bhishma dies? He's very old now. It is better for him to die because he has done such great service. If he dies, he will go back to Krishna. Even if he doesn't go back to Krishna, at least he will get a new body. He has done such pious activities, so he will definitely have a new, better body, and he will be with the devatas, and he will go back to being Vasu, and he will be happy. So sometimes these are all our material judgments. Death is bad, poverty is bad, not having this is bad, having that is bad. This whole situation is bad. We are in COVID situation. The whole world is suffering. These are all material judgments. They are not even correct. Even on a material terms, they are not correct. What to talk in spiritual terms? So, as devotees, we shouldn't try to question the Lord. We should just surrender and allow the Lord to guide us. In the 10th chapter, canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, there is one very wonderful prayer by Lord Brahma. I think I've quoted it in the past, but in that verse, Lord Brahma, in the meaning, he says, the meaning of the verse goes like this, that a devotee who silently suffers through all the material problems without complaining and always thinking that he deserves it, and at the same time continues his devotion without any interruption, for him liberation is his birthright. Prabhupada translates that word as birthright, meaning for such a devotee, going back home, back to Godhead is his birthright. It is assured that he will not come back to this material world. So there are two things that are mentioned there, that he should, whatever suffering comes materially, he should not be disturbed by it. And at the same time, he should keep continuing his devotional service, not giving these problems as an excuse. Prabhu, today I have headache, so I couldn't get up and do my Mangalarti. That's not a quality of a devotee. Uninterrupted, haituhi apradihata yayatma suprasidati. Apratihata means without break. You can't say one day I chant 16, next day I'll don't chant, third day I'll chant 32 rounds. No. It has to be consistent, continuous, and without material motive. Right? So, here that's what Yudhishthira Maharaj is being taught by Bhishma Dev, that you are thinking you are the cause of the slaughter, and you are thinking that you are suffering because of your previous deeds. Both are wrong. You did not suffer because of your past karma, because the moment you became a devotee, all your karma is washed away. Similarly, you are not the cause of this slaughter, because that was Krishna's plan, because you are acting just as an instrument in the hands of the of the Lord. So there could be another question that comes: why can't Krishna, teach the world in a happy way? Why he has to make the devotees suffer? Right? He could have easily, won the dice match, and there were, then Duryodhana could have been sent to forest, and then Duryodhana came back, and he started the war. It could have happened that way. I had a question like this once. And Prabhupada gives a beautiful answer to that question in the purport of this verse. He says, the popular saying is that a housewife teaches the daughter-in-law by teaching the daughter. Similarly, the Lord teaches the world by teaching the devotee. The devotee does not have to learn anything new from the Lord, because the Lord teaches the sincere devotee always from within. Whenever there is a show is made to teach the devotee, as in the case of teachings of Bhagavad Gita, it is for teaching the less intelligent men. See, the perfect answer. Sometimes the Lord uses devotees as a platform to teach others. And the devotees also very gladly accept that. They don't question it. They actually see it as a form of benediction. So that is what, like in Prabhupada's life, we see Prabhupada has to go through so many problems. He had to, his whole business failed. His family was not very cooperative. Later, when he took sannyas, none of his god brothers supported him. He had to move from one Gaudiya Math to other Gaudiya Math, and he tried so many times to go outside India. Nothing worked out. He even started a movement called League of Devotees, which failed. And then finally, he got a seat in the cargo ship, and then as he was going, he suffered 3 heart attacks. Even after landing in New York, the first 1 year, Prabhupada had to go through so many tribulations, problems. All his possessions were stolen away, including his typewriter. But Prabhupada persisted, because this was my order of my spiritual master, and come what may, I will do it. Krishna could have made it very easy for Srila Prabhupada. But why? Because he wanted to show the world how a person who is striving to become a devotee should behave. So as a practicing devotees, we cannot expect life to be smooth. The life is never smooth. This is true not only for devotees, it's true for non-devotees as well. Nobody can be consistently happy all the time in this world, because as we saw, this world is dukkhalayam asashvatam. Nobody can escape from that. So even though Krishna does do that, he also asks them to go through the tribulation to teach the world. Because otherwise, what will happen? Everybody will become a devotee just to get rid of the sufferings. And once the suffering goes away, they will also, we see that many people will come to temple. They'll say, I have this problem, that problem. They'll pray to the Lord. And once the problem is solved, you will never see them in the temple. Krishna doesn't want that. That's why he uses his own devotees to set us an example that even the purest devotees have to go through tribulation, whether it's Pandavas, Srila Prabhupada, even Ambarish Maharaj, all of them had to go through the tribulation, Prahlad Maharaj. As a practicing devotee, this is very important to apply in our life. If we face problems, we cannot go to the Lord and ask, please solve my problem. The problem itself is there even after we are trying to become a devotee, right? We are in the path of devotional service. We have already started. So if we are going through some tribulations, we should always understand the Lord is doing it for our own benefit. Next verse. Text 18. This Sri Krishna is none other than the inconceivable original personality of Godhead. He is the first Narayana, the supreme enjoyer, but he is moving amongst the descendants of King Vrishni just like one of us, and he is bewildering us with his self-created energy. He calls him Adi Narayanan, Adya Narayan. Adya means the first of all the Narayanas. There are Krishna expands himself into millions of forms, but he is the original candle. Like, Prabhupada gives the example, we light one candle and with that we can light thousands of candles. Like that, there are many, many, many different forms, unlimited forms of the Lord, but the original candle is Krishna himself, and that is confirmed here by Bhishma Deva. Right? And that original personality, he is saying, he is here among us. He is acting as our friend. He is acting, as a descendant of Vrishni. And it looks like he is a common person like you and me. There are two kinds of Maya. Krishna's personal Maya, which is called Yoga Maya, and then Mahamaya. See, in both the cases, whether we are under Yoga Maya or Mahamaya, we forget the position of Krishna. But the problem in Mahamaya is we'll even forget Krishna himself. But in Yoga Maya, that relationship with Krishna is strong. Only the position is the position of the Lord is covered, so that there is a rasa. Like, if Yashodhama thinks that Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead, then she will have only Aishwarya Bhav, that law and awe and reverence. There won't be any love of paternity, mother taking care of the child. So sometimes Krishna uses his yoga maya and devotees just for the purpose of establishing the relationship. And that's what Bhishma Deva is talking. Even though we all think, he's like us, but actually he is not like us. He is Krishna, he is the supreme personality of Godhead. Even Duryodhana also thought Krishna is a normal. Oh, he is just a descendant of, Pandava, Vrishni, and he just have a bag of magic tricks. When Krishna came, for as an ambassador to stop the war, there were, Duryodhana, Karna, Sakuni, they all held a conference. And at that point, Dushashana, all the bad guys were there. At that point, Karna and Shakuni and Dushashana, they were all telling Duryodhana, if Krishna comes, he is capable of actually, changing your father's mind. So you need to do something. And then Duryodhana, planned actually to capture Krishna. The one person who the great rishis cannot capture in their heart, here Duryodhana, because he thought Krishna is just an ordinary person with some powers. He has some powers. So if we plan better, we can trap him. So when Krishna came to the Sabha, he made a special seat for him. And under the seat, he had, kept a trap door. So the door will open, Krishna will, with the seat, he will fall down, they'll put him in a jail. So because he knew this Krishna is the one who is giving all the advice to the Pandavas, if we put him in jail, then we are all going to win. Such a foolish plan. Krishna is bigger than the biggest. And he is smaller than the smallest simultaneously. Right? That's why when he took the Vishwarupa, he was so big that there was no chain that could handle him. There was no prison that you can put him inside. So Duryodhana was also under the under the power of Maya, and he thought Krishna is an ordinary person. So we need to understand whether we want to see Krishna with the eyes of Duryodhana or with the eyes of Yudhishthira Maharaj. Text 19. O King, Lord Shiva, Narada, the sage among the demigods, and Kapila, the incarnation of Godhead, all know very confidently about his glories through direct contact. Right? Now, everybody is bewildered, but still there are some who can understand Krishna. Here, it is explained that Lord Shiva, Narada, and Kapila, who is again an incarnation of Krishna himself, they know that Krishna is not an ordinary person, that he is the Adi Purusha and the supreme personality of Godhead. And Prabhupada writes that the 12 Mahajanas, including Brahma, Narada, Shiva, Kumara, Kapila, Manu, Prahlad, Bhishma Deva himself, Janaka Maharaj, Sukadeva, Bali Maharaja, and Yamaraja, these are the 12 Mahajans, they knew the identity of the Lord. Why? Not because they are powerful, but because actually they are powerful in the sense through devotional service, they have captured the Lord in their heart, and in turn the Lord, captured by their devotional service, have revealed himself to him. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, there is this wonderful story. We have heard about King Prataparudra, right? So, people think, why did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was so hard on him? Why did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu kept on rejecting. Prataparudra wanted to meet, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, I am a sannyasi. Sannyasi cannot meet a king. King means he is Vishayi. Vishayi means materialist. He is a shillings and pound man. Prabhupada writes in the purport in Chaitanya, it's a wonderful purport. Shillings and pound man, because he deals with money. A devotee or a sannyasi should avoid a person who is very closely related with money and women. And king actually very closely relates with both with money and women as an administrative head. So he said, I cannot meet him. So he kept on, pressuring, and then Prataparudra said, "What is the point of having my life if I can't meet?" And then the devotees arranged Ramananda Rai, Nityananda Prabhu, and Swarup Damodar and Advaita Acharya. They all planned, and after the Ratha Yatra, they sent the king, dressed as an ordinary devotee, a Vaishnava, and then he went and massaged the lotus feet of the Lord in the park, and then he was, reading a shloka from Bhagavatam, Gita Govind. And then, Mahaprabhu was so, happy with the reciting of the words. He hugged the king. So in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it said, this is just to show as an example that a sannyasi should not meet the king, that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was doing it. But otherwise, in the heart, he has already given darshan to Prataparudra. Prataparudra, why I'm saying this is to show what the eyesight the king gave to Prataparudra. So later in the pastimes of the Lord, when the Ratha Yatra is happening, there will be 3 rats and there will be 7 kirtan parties in 7 directions. One in the front, one in the behind, one in this side, one in that side. So there will be 7 kirtan parties, with 7 kirtan leaders and 7, lead dancers. Chaitanya Charitamrita explains, in one party Nityananda Prabhu, in one party Advaita Acharya, in one party Vakreshwar Pandit. Like this, each party had their lead. And it is said Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was simultaneously present in all the 7 Kirtan parties and he was dancing with them. Like Krishna in Rasa Leela, he was present personally with each of the gopis and he was dancing. Similarly, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was present in every Kirtan party thought that Krishna is only with me. Like the gopis all thought Krishna is only with me. Similarly, all the Kirtan party was thinking, oh, Mahaprabhu is only dancing for our Kirtan party. Nobody could understand that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was dancing in 7 places simultaneously. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, there is said that only 2 people who could see that simultaneously Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is present in 7 places. And who are they? One is King Prataparudra and the other one is Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, who are very dear devotees of the Lord. So that is the point that it is made here, that one who is very dear to the Lord, he can know, he will know. But otherwise, it's very difficult to understand the Lord. Why? Because the Lord himself has revealed himself to them. So, the Prabhupada also writes in the purport that all the tribulations and the problems that we were discussing, they all actually sometimes make us more mature and push us towards the Lord more closely. Prabhupada writes this in the purport. Right? So it purifies us, it's like a fire. Fire is burning, but it also purifies. Similarly, the suffering in the material world is burning. Samsara dava nalalita loka. This material world is burning, but it can purify us if we take it in the right spirit. And as it more and more purify us, the bhava or the emotion or the love for Krishna will become more and more increasing in our heart. And that goal is much, much higher than any small tribulations we have to go through for it. Verse 20. O king, that personality whom out of ignorance you thought to be your maternal cousin, your very dear friend, well-wisher, counselor, messenger, benefactor, etc., is that very personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. So he says, because generally cousins are very close. They are more in the mood of friendship, right? So Arjuna, all the Pandavas, they saw Krishna as their desire, as their cousin from their mother's side. Vasudeva and Kunti are brother and sisters. So it's like maternal cousin. So they used to play with him, joke with him, and they thought he's their very dear friend, always a well-wisher. He even sent them as a messenger and a benefactor, right, as we just saw. But actually, he was the supreme personality of Godhead. He is non, but this is not ignorance out of Mahamaya, but it was ignorance out of his Yoga Maya. Verse 21. Being the absolute personality of Godhead, he is present in everyone's heart. He is equally kind to everyone and he is free from the false ego of differentiation. Therefore, whatever he does is free from material inability. He is equibalanced. So immediately the question arises, right? Because we saw this question that Krishna is the friend of a devotee. He was a messenger, well-wisher, So does that mean that Krishna is, is not balanced? That one side and he is against the other side? Does it Krishna loves Arjuna more than he hates Duryodhana? Immediately that question could come up in the mind, and that's why Bhishma Deva is talking that he is present in everyone's heart and he is equally kind to everyone. He's equally kind to everyone. He's not biased. So then why did he protect Krishna, Arjuna, and why did he kill Duryodhana? As I was saying earlier, whatever the Lord does, it is on the perfect transcendental platform. There is no duality in that. Whether Krishna kills somebody or whether Krishna protects somebody, both of them produce the same results. When because we see that, right, in Putana was killed, she achieved the same status that Yashoda Maya achieved. It is said she achieved because she fed Krishna and used the position of a mother. It doesn't matter whether she came to kill Krishna, and just by killing her, Krishna gave her the same position as Yashoda Maya. So whether Krishna kills somebody or whether Krishna interacts nicely with somebody, he is always kind to both of them. But based on how we react or what we think, one looks good and one looks bad. This is all on the platform of duality in the material world. It is our Maya that makes us see it is in a different way. Because as I was saying earlier, we think, oh, death is bad. We think, this is bad, that is bad. But yeah, Putana's death is glorious. She achieved the status of Yashoda Mata. What else can be higher? So by making her die, Krishna make her achieve the topmost position that even Brahma and Lord Shiva cannot achieve. So Krishna is equal to everyone. He is always thinking, like in Bhagavatam, Brihad Bhagavatam, it is said, actually Krishna is in very much anxiety about each of the soul in the material world. He is always worried. Oh my God, these people are there suffering. They are not becoming my devotees. Krishna is always worried in anxiety about the jivas in the material world, because he doesn't have to worry about the jivas in the spiritual world. They are happily engaged in his spiritual service. There is no problem there. Happy place, a place of no suffering, Prabhupada writes. So he doesn't have to worry. So all his worry is about this, about all the jivas stuck in this material world. He's always in anxiety. He's always thinking how to get them back home, back to Godhead. So there is no false ego of differentiation. He is my friend. He is my enemy. This comes from because of false ego, right? Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says the sign of a demon. He thinks I am, this is my enemy. By this act, I have killed my enemies, and now there are no enemies, so I am supreme. All these things are out of false ego. Krishna never has false ego. So there is no friend or enemy for Krishna. Everybody is devotee. Okay. Now, he said that he is equal to everybody, and then he is putting a small qualification star above it. You have this fine print, they'll put you rules and regular, conditions, right? And at the end of a condition, they'll put a small star, and then below they'll write in a very minute letters that we can't even read, and they'll put some condition, then they will sneak it in. Sneak it in a new rule that, but here, so similarly here, Bhishma Deva is putting a qualification on the previous statement. Text 22. Yet, despite his being equally kind to everyone, he has graciously come before me while I am ending my life, for I am his unflinching servitor. So, So then, here he is saying, Krishna has come here for me. Because the most glorious way, what else can be there? That, it is said in the Shastra, the topmost form or the goal of life is to die thinking of Krishna so that you will never have birth and death again. And, Krishna himself is standing now in front of Bhishma Deva so that he can think of Krishna at the time of dying. Like, Haridas Thakur. We also heard how Haridas Thakur passed away, holding the lotus feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, chanting the Maha Mantra, and, looking at the face of the Lord, he left the body. Same here, we see that Bhishma Deva is saying he has come, even though he is equipoised, still he has come to me at the end of the life, because it doesn't happen for others. It's very rare. We don't see that Krishna personally came when somebody was dying and helped them, other than Bhishma Deva and Haridas Thakur. Very few stories in the Shastra. So then again, is that because he is partial? No. Why? Because Bhishma Deva gives the answer. For I am his unflinching servitor. So a devotee, he relates to Krishna. Krishna relates to everybody in whatever form they want. And the devotee, he wants Krishna, he wants to relate to Krishna in a particular way, and Krishna also reciprocates. He reciprocates for everybody. An atheist doesn't want to believe in Krishna. He doesn't want to have a connection with Krishna, so Krishna doesn't give him connection. A devotee wants to, like Bhishma Deva, he wants Krishna to, so he is fulfilling everybody's desire, isn't it? So what is a partiality in this? But a devotee, by his intelligence, he is able to think of Krishna at the end of his life. And here, Bhishma Deva is such a devotee that his strongest desire is fulfilled, that, at the time of his death, Krishna personally came in front of him. Text 23. The personality of Godhead, who appears in the mind of devotee by attentive devotion and meditation and by chanting of the holy name, releases the devotee from the bondage of fruitive activity at the time of his quitting the material body. Very, very beautiful verse. Bhaktya Veshya Mano Yasmin Vachayan Nama Kirtayan. See, Bhishma Deva is very particular. The words that he uses, the things that we should be doing, he is, bhakti, devotee, without any attention, deviation of attention, always should think of the Lord, and should not only think of the Lord, but he should chant the holy name of the Lord. Nama Kirtan, he is specifically using the word Nama Kirtan. So, anybody dying hearing the Kirtan of the Lord is the most glorious of all. There can be no great, opportunity than this. And we see that I've heard about this story for many ISKCON devotees, how Krishna arranged, personally an association of the devotees when they passed away. Even for devotees who were, who had left the movement or who had given up Krishna consciousness, Krishna never gave up on them. Prabhupada never gave up on them. There are many stories of Prabhupada disciples who actually, gave up at some point. After Prabhupada left, they couldn't keep up devotional service, so they left their, their association of devotees. But at the time of dying, Radha Krishna brought them back, and they were hearing Krishna's kirtan. This was even, we hear the story of George Harrison passing away also. He helped Srila Prabhupada so much. He was never a temple devotee, and later after Prabhupada, he associated with other gurus and everything. But we see that while at the time of death, he was hearing to the, Prabhupada's bhajans, and there were devotees sitting around him. So even a small step can protect us from the greatest danger. Similarly, one who engages in kirtan, one who engages in chanting of the holy name, one who is engaged in the preaching of the holy name, glorious that even if we want to give up Krishna, Krishna will never give up on us. So this is very, very important for devotees. Because as Prabhupada says, the real test for a devotee is death. What do we think at the time of death? And even if we have done little service to the Lord, He personally comes, because we are all not capable of serving the Lord. With all our imperfections, it's very difficult that we can serve the Lord, right? We may think, oh, I am cooking for the Lord, I am washing for the Lord, I am giving class for the Lord, I'm reading Bhagavatam. These are all devotional. These are all not actually. We are not doing any favor to Krishna. We are actually doing favor only to ourselves. But even though we are doing it for ourselves, still Krishna is so merciful that at the time of death, He personally makes sure that devotees remember Him, and by remembering Him, all our bondage to the karma and this world is cut off. So when we hear these stories of how devotees passed away, there was I don't know how many of you have read. There is a book called Salted Bread. It's a very, very inspiring book. If you are capable, you can buy it and read it. Given that we all have so much time in during this lockdown period, it talks about devotees who struggled during the initial days of preaching in Russia. Right, those days it was called USSR, Soviet Union. Right, so it was very difficult because the government was against it. They used to torture devotees, do everything in hiding. They'll capture the devotees and they will torture them, pump chemicals and everything, so that they can forget their devotional service, and then they'll put them in horrible conditions. This devotee was put in a prison in Siberia. Horrible condition. And the book talks about how the devotee on the day, nobody knew, but some or other the devotee knew that he was going to pass away. And then he put because they don't give you don't get tilak, so he put the toothpaste that they give as a tilak. He was the mat to lie down he wore as a dhoti. And they used to give bread, and this devotee, what he used to do, he used to put the bread in water, and then he'll dry them so that it becomes hard, and then with that he strung mala, chanting bead, and he left the body chanting the holy name of the Lord. Such a remote place in a remote prison with no devotee association, still helped him remember, because he had done such wonderful service for the Lord. So Krishna is very much particularly for devotees. So as a practicing devotees, when we hear this, we should become more strong. Krishna is such a wonderful person. I should be serving him. This is not to say, oh, I have done little devotional service, anyway Krishna will protect me. That is not the attitude that we should develop. That is anti-devotional. Sometimes if we have wrong attitudes, Krishna may make us take birth again. Like for example, Bharata Maharaj, he was used as an example, but still because he went outside, the Acharyas say the reason Bharata Maharaj fell down was because he went to the forest to isolate himself and he didn't have the association of devotees. So to show to the world that if you leave the association of devotees, that may cause you to take birth again and again, Krishna enacted the pastime where he was born as a deer and then as a Jada Bharata, and then he went back home, back to Godhead. So we should not have that attitude as but the devotees we should appreciate, but the idea is not to be discouraged by all the negative qualities in us. Whatever negative quality I may have, it doesn't matter. I will keep practicing Krishna consciousness. I will keep chanting. I'll try my best. And if we keep doing that, even if we have all the problems in the world, even if we have all the bad qualities in the world, still Krishna will come to us at the time of death and break the attachment, break the chain of karma and take us home back to Godhead. As I said, Krishna is anxious to take us back home, back to Godhead. And the only reason Krishna is not doing this is because we are adamantly holding on to the material world. I don't want to go, I don't want to go. Now, after he has given instructions and after he has revealed the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in the next verses, actually, this Bhishma Deva is going to tell his prayers to the Lord before he passes away. Very wonderful prayers, have very deep meaning. So, as I said earlier, during the prayers of Queen Quinty, you should try to by heart these verses and try to remember them as much as possible. So we generally used to have this reciting of verses before the class, and because of this online thing, we are not yet set up. Probably once we, the temple reopens and we go back to giving class from the temple, probably we will try to restart this shloka recitation, because these verses are very wonderful. Text number 24. May my Lord, who is four-handed and whose beautifully decorated lotus face, with eyes as red as the rising sun, is smiling, kindly await me at the moment when I quit this material body. See, even though Bhishma was such a great devotee, even though he was at his deathbed and Krishna was personally present before him, still he is not taking Krishna for granted. Still he is begging for his mercy, saying, this Lord who is the four-handed form, Vishnu, Narayana, who has the lotus eyes and lotus face and who is as beautiful as the rising sun, I beg him to wait for me at the moment when I quit this body. This is the mood of a devotee, humbleness. With Trinadapi Sunichena, Tarorapi Sahishnuna, Amanina Manadena, Kirtaniya Sadahari. So even though the Lord was personally present, still he is begging. Sometimes Krishna may be in front of us, but still we will not, be, praying to them. How many times we go to the temple, we stand in front of the deities. Krishna is there in front of us. Deity is not different from the Lord, but still we don't give attention. When we chant the name of the Lord, Krishna is personally present. How much are we, listening to the holy name of the Lord and taking him to the heart? So that's why he is saying, even though Krishna is there, he is asking both mentally and physically, let Krishna be there. Not only let him there be in front of me, but, let my mind also be drawn to him. Prabhupada writes, a Vaishnava is not puffed up, although the Lord guarantees his pure devotee entrance into his abode. Similarly, by mercy of the devotees, we are allowed to go to the temple and stand in front of Radha Gopinath. We shouldn't be puffed up. Oh, I know everything. Because the moment the false ego starts working, our eyes are closed. We cannot see Krishna, even though we are standing. We may stand in front of the Lord. That's why many a times our concentration is not there, because of our false ego and because of not having humbleness. Even when we chant Krishna's name, Krishna is personally there, but still we are not able to perceive him. So humbleness is the only way to see the Lord. Suta Uvacha. Next verse. So now that he has, he has made a prayer, Maharaj Yudhishthira, text 25. Suta Goswami said, Maharaj Yudhishthira, after hearing Bhishma Deva speak in the appealing tone, asked him in the presence of all the great rishis about the essential principles of various religious duties. So as we saw last week, all the knowledge that were not to be known was with Bhishma Deva. So in order to help everyone, because it's not that Yudhishthira didn't know, Yudhishthira had same knowledge. He was as perfect as Bhishma Deva. But still, for the benefit, because the whole of Sanatan Dharma, all the Shastra is in the form of a question and answer. And the people who are asking the question and the people who are answering the question, both of them are in the topmost platform. Saunaka Rishi asking Suta Goswami, Parikshit Maharaj asking Sukadeva Goswami, Arjuna asking Krishna, Yudhishthira asking Bhishma Deva. So if you see, it is both Mahatmas. When one Mahatma puts a question and another Mahatma gives an answer, that is the most glorious. It is for our benefit. Like Prabhupada writes, it's for the less intelligent men like you and me. We may be materially, someone may be very intelligent, he may be a great scientist, and prime minister, president, this, that, it may big position, whatever it is, but still, those kind of intelligence has no real value at the time of death. Whereas the real intelligence is the questions that the Mahatma put forth, right? Why was Krishna put in, in this situation? Why can an ignorant person be asked to ask such a question? Because we are so ignorant that we don't even know what to ask. Many a time we ask questions which are very irrelevant. So if it has to benefit everybody in the world, one Mahatma only has to ask, Mahatma only has to answer. Otherwise, we will ask some stupid questions which has no real value. So in order to benefit the whole world, that doesn't mean that we should not ask questions. That's not my point. Whatever doubt we have, we should ask and clarify it. But then when the conversations, they are at an entirely different level altogether, completely pure. The person who is asking is also on a perfect platform. The person answering is on a perfect platform. It's for the greater good. Verse 26. At Maharaj Yudhishthira's inquiry, Bhishma Deva first defined all the classification of the caste and orders of life in terms of individuals' qualification. Then he systematically, in twofold division, described counteraction by detachment and interaction by attachment. So these instructions, they are very wonderful. Maybe sometime we should have this description, because the instructions that Bhishma Deva gave Yudhishthira, it forms the greatest or biggest part of the Mahabharata. It's called the Shanti Parva, and the discussion between Yudhishthira Maharaj and Bhishma Deva is the biggest of all the chapters within Mahabharata, and it is full of gems. It primarily talks about the duties in various orders in the Varnashrama Dharma. Talks about the duties of a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Sudra. As we were seeing, see, this Varnashrama Dharma is very, very important to have a civilized society. Srila Prabhupada also raised. Because the Varnashrama Dharma, it gradually pulls us into the mode of goodness. And in mode of goodness, practicing devotional service is very easy. As we saw in the second chapter chapter of the first canto, the Varnashrama Dharma is very essential. We are all struggling, devotees, we struggle, many of us struggle because the material world is going exactly in an opposite direction. You go to the office, you go out in the material world, it's such a nonsense, it disturbs the mind so much. It's very difficult to practice Krishna consciousness after coming back home. The whole world is against devotees practicing Krishna consciousness in all possible forms. One of the basic qualification is that is the mind is tranquil. Then only when we chant we can hear the name of the Lord. If the mind is disturbed all the times, and that's how this whole world is designed. Whereas if our material life is set according to the Varnashrama Dharma, the mind will always be peace. There will be peace and quiet all the time. Everybody knows what qualification and what Varna they belong to and what they should be doing. There is no question of unemployment. There is no question of recession, right? Now that everybody is in anxiety, COVID-19, the whole economy collapsed. All the Western countries and Eastern countries, everybody, everywhere, there is there is no job. Everybody is disturbed. But in ancient India, there is no question of unemployment. Everybody was engaged perfectly in their job, and everybody was taken care. So when your mind is not disturbed because of material problems, the society is not disturbed, it is easy to practice Krishna consciousness. Nowadays, we all engage in so much ugra karma. You have to travel from one place to another, 20 kilometers up and 20 kilometers down every day. You lose time 2 hours every day in traveling. Then 8 hours of ugra karma in office. They talk nonsense. They do nonsense. They engage in nonsensical politics. Everything. It all disturbs the mind. So when we come back home, there is no peace to do devotional service. This is the difference between practicing Krishna consciousness in Varnashrama Dharma and practicing without Varnashrama Dharma. Prabhupada writes in many places that Varnashrama Dharma is very essential to be established so that peacefully everybody can be engaged in the devotional service of the Lord. Varnashrama Dharma may not give us devotional service, but it helps us to practice devotional service in a very simple and easy way. So that's why here the orders how a Varnashrama Dharma should work, what a Brahmana should do, Kshatriya should do, Vaishya should do, Shudra should do, what any human being should do. Prabhupada writes in the purport some of the few important instructions. Prabhupada writes about 9 qualifications for all human beings, not just for a Brahmana. Basically, if somebody is a human, they should have these 9 qualities. The first one is to not to become angry. Anger is, in the Shastra, it's compared to a hot coal. What will happen when you take a hot coal and throw at others? It will burn them, and before burning them, it will burn our hand. Similarly, anger, before we show our anger to somebody, it will not only it will hurt them, first it will hurt us. So, human being means they cannot become angry. The next one he talks about is not to lie. This is very important. Satyam is the truth, is the principle in which the whole world is established in. There is this question and answer between Dharmaraj and Yudhishthira Maharaj, and one of the question is, he's asking about why the sun rises, why it sets, why the sun sets. In that set of question, one question that asked is, in where is the sun established in? Like, for example, I am sitting in a chair. Where is this chair established in? The chair is established on the ground. So, the ground is established on the Bhuma Devi. So, like that, everything is established on something. There has to be a supporting principle. The sun is standing up in the sky. We have never heard, we throw up a ball, it comes down, but we don't ever hear that sun is falling down, moon is falling down. They are all established in their position. All the planets are established in their position. And how they are established, and the answer that Yudhishthira Maharaj gives is through honesty or truth or satyam. And the Param Satyam is Krishna himself. He is the topmost, and because of him is what everything is established. So honesty means, devotee means there is no need to tell a lie. If Krishna is the representation of honesty, why should ever we tell a lie? There should be no need, but then sometimes we say, oh, it's a devotee, it's okay. So no, it is not okay. You see how Yudhishthira lived his life, how Arjuna never ever told a lie in his life. Same with Prahlad Maharaj or great devotees. Even in joke, they do not tell a lie. You will see that in the Shastra. Even for jokes, they will not tell lies. Such a beautiful life they led. Number 3, to equally distribute wealth. So again, in the questions between Dharmaraj and Yudhishthira Maharaj, one of the questions that is asked is, what companies want time death? And the answer that Yudhishthira gives is the charity that he has given. So when we acquire wealth, it is, many people acquire wealth for themselves, but actually the purpose of acquiring wealth is to give in charity. The purpose of getting wealth is to give it away. It may look very ironic, but that's how the Vedic life is all about. The purpose of acquiring wealth is to give it away. So again, as a devotee, we cannot say, oh, I am chanting, I'll keep all the money for myself, then our attachment for Krishna will never grow. So whatever comes, we should keep what our maintenance, and the rest should be used in the service of the Lord. Charity is very important. Distributing wealth to others is very important. If we hoard wealth, like we hear, some people were born as a cockroach, a snake guarding the treasure. In the Shastra, so many examples are given. Anyway, at the time of death, we cannot carry away wealth. We cannot say, hey, last Janma, this house belonged to me. So, in this Janma also, no court will accept it. Even if we remember the last Janma, we cannot take even one single paisa with us when we die. So, better whatever we have, we can't even take 1 cent, $1 with us. So, it is better that when what we have currently, we distribute it, give in charity. Number 4 is to forgive. Again, this is very important, right? The most important quality of a devotee is to forgive and forget. Once somebody, even if somebody has done a great mistake to us, the moment we go and say, they come and say, I am sorry, we should forgive them. We cannot keep it in the heart. We can't say, I forgive you outside and then in the heart we still, devotee means the most important quality in a devotee is to forgive. This is very important. The next one is to beget children only by one's legitimate wife. Again, it's important to bring Krishna conscious children into this world. And, for that to happen, it has to be legitimate. What it means legitimate is, following the Shastra. There has to be a marriage ceremony. Mantras has to be chanted. There has to be a Garbhadana samskara. Then after the kid is born, various samskara has to be done. Why? Because without these samskara, the marriage is not legitimate. And if it is not legitimate, the child will not have sattvic guna. If he doesn't have a sattvic guna, then he cannot become a devotee. So these are all very important. Only through one's wife, married wife, with all the samskaras complete, we should beget our children. Otherwise, we can't expect, children to be in the sattva guna. If we ourselves are in complete rajo and tamo guna, and in that we have a relationship with the other person and produce a children, how can we expect it to be, a great devotee? I have the quality of iron and my wife has the quality of iron, and we both combine together and we can't produce gold. Iron and iron melt together, only will produce iron. This is very important. Number 6, to be pure in mind and hygienic in body. Next one is the purity, right? This we know cleanliness is next to godliness, not only in body but also in the mind. Number 7, not to be inimical towards anyone. As I said, no one is our enemy, no one is our friend. It is all just like, Krishna gives later in the Bhagavatam the example of all the sticks coming together in a river. In the river, sticks will fall from the tree on the branch, and they are all, washed away by the power of the river. Sometimes the sticks will come together, and sometimes they will go away. Similarly, in this material world, there is a rush. The river is running very powerfully, and we are all thrown into it. So in some life, we come together as father and son, mother and daughter, wife and husband, friends. In the same person, some other life, they will become the worst enemies of each other. So there is no point in, considering somebody a friend or an enemy in this material world. Next, 8, to be simple. Again, this is a very extensive topic. Gaur Govind Maharaj talks very extensively about simplicity. Even in Tattva Sandarbha, Jiva Goswami writes, the main reason that somebody is not advancing in Krishna consciousness, even after chanting the holy name of the Lord for a long time, is because they are very crooked. They are not simple in heart. So if we are not advancing in Krishna consciousness, it means we have crookedness, wickedness in our heart. And that's why our advancement is so slow. So it's very important to be simple living and high thinking. And the last one is to support servants or subordinates, right? In the Shastra, it is said one is judged not based on how he behaves to his superior or peers, but how he behaves to his inferior, people who are below him. Anyway, we always respect people above us because we know they are the one who, in the office will be very nice to our manager and super boss and, super boss and all those things. But when it comes to our subordinates, how we are behaving, that's what will define the quality of men and women. So it's very important that we take care of the people who are dependent on us in a proper way, whether it is, husband and wife or children or in the office, or whether a spiritual master or a public leader. These 9 are the basic qualities of human being. Without it, anybody is not even considered a civilized person. This is not even to become a devotee. These are all just to be a human being. These qualities are important. So, Bhishma Dev, he talks about all these things very extensively to to Yudhishthira Maharaj. First, he talks about the qualities of human beings, why it is important, to have